Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever felt completely overwhelmed by database jargon, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're going to break down core SQL concepts and translate all that abstract terminology into actual, actionable knowledge. We'll be using some super simple code examples to show you exactly how data gets manipulated behind the scenes. We're literally going to follow the life cycle of a data record, right from the moment it's created all the way to the moment it's deleted. All right, let's take a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll start with welcome to the database, move on to tables, fields, and rules, then master some basic CRUD operations, look at refining queries with conditions, and finally wrap up with joining tables together. So, Section 1, welcome to the database. Let's start organizing all that chaotic raw data. To kick things off, we need to figure out what kind of system we're even dealing with here. The crucial takeaway is that modern databases, think MySQL, PostgreSQL, or Oracle, are relational database management systems, or, RDBMS for short. See, instead of just dumping data into some massive, unreadable text file, an RDBMS neatly organizes everything into a collection of related tables. It's superstructured, which lets us clearly define relationships between common fields. Now, this right here illustrates a really common point of confusion for beginners. SQL, which stands for Structured Query Language, is simply the language we use to communicate. It's just the syntax. On the flip side, MySQL or PostgreSQL, that's the actual software engine storing and managing your data. Basically, you speak SQL to the MySQL engine. Moving right along to Section 2, Tables, Fields, and Rules. Let's look at how we actually structure this data. I want you to think of a database table just like a giant spreadsheet, or maybe a physical filing cabinet. The columns running vertically, those are your specific fields of information. Things like customer ID, customer code, contact name, and active status. And the rows running horizontally, those are your individual records. Every single row represents one complete entry, like one specific customer living in your system. But hey, here's a question that usually pops up right away. What if two customers happen to have the exact same name? Or what if a system glitch tries to assign the same ID number to two completely different people? I mean, if we're storing thousands or even millions of records, we absolutely need a bulletproof way to avoid mixing up people who have identical details. And to solve that exact problem, we enforce a strict rule known as a primary key. We usually slap this constraint right on our customer ID column. See, a primary key guarantees that every single record remains uniquely identifiable. It forces the database to check that the value is totally unique, and it absolutely refuses to allow an empty or null value in that field. It's basically the ultimate digital fingerprint for your data row. All right, Section 3, Mastering Basic CRUD Operations. It is time to follow the actual life cycle of our data. So the acronym CRUD stands for the 4 essential operations of persistent storage. Honestly, whether you're building a tiny student roster or some massive enterprise dashboard, you're using CRUD. We're going to map these directly to their specific SQL commands. Create becomes insert, read becomes select, update, state update, and delete is, well, delete. It maps perfectly. Let's check out a few simple code examples. To create a brand new record, we use the insert statement. Check out the syntax here. Insert into customers. We're telling the database exactly which columns we want to fill, in this case, customer ID and contact name. Then we just hand over the corresponding values we want to add, the number 1 and the name Dennis. It's super precise and deliberate. Now you might be wondering, what happens to the columns we didn't mention in our code? Well, we didn't give Dennis a customer code, so the database just left it empty, which is represented by that null value. But look closely at the active column. Even though we didn't specify anything for it, our database automatically assigned it a default value of 1. Setting up default values like this is a massive time saver. It keeps your data clean without forcing you to write extra code every single time. Moving right into the read phase. When we actually need to pull our data out to look at it, we use the select statement. Pairing select with the star operator, that little asterisk, acts as a wildcard. It essentially tells the database engine, hey, grab every single column and row from this table instantly. It's super convenient. Though, quick heads up, as your tables get absolutely massive, you'll eventually want to select only the specific columns you need just to save on processing power.
Next up is update. Okay, let's pretend Dennis decides to cancel his subscription. We need to modify his record, right? For that, we use the update statement. Update customers, set active equals 0. But you've got to pay close attention to the end of that command, where customer ID equals 1. We are specifically targeting his unique primary key. That ensures we are only updating Dennis and literally nobody else. When you treat SQL like a direct conversation with your database, modifying exactly what you need is a breeze. As you can see, Dennis's active status changed from a 1 to a 0, and it completely left all the other records and columns alone.
Okay, on to section 4, refining queries with conditions. As your database grows to hold millions of records, you're going to need to ask way more specific questions to get exactly what you're looking for. This is where clauses become your absolute best friend. Instead of just grabbing everything, take a look at this query. By tossing in a where clause, we filter the results to pull only the active users, where active equals 1. And by tacking an order by clause onto the end, we neatly sort those results in ascending alphabetical order based on their contact name. This right here is exactly how you transform a messy pile of raw data into a clean, highly readable report. Now, when it comes to the delete phase of CRUD, you need to be incredibly careful. Seriously, using delete from customers along with a where clause, that safely removes one specific row. But if you use the truncate table command, oh boy, that will ruthlessly wipe the entire table completely clean. It deletes all the records, leaving only the empty table structure behind. So always double check your where clauses before you hit run on a delete. Finally, section 5, joining tables together. Let's see how we connect the dots between all these different filing cabinets to get the big picture. In the real world, a database is almost never just a single table. You know, a customer's profile details might live over in one table, while their daily purchase history is stored in an entirely different one. A join clause acts as the bridge that connects them. It hunts for a related column, like that primary key customer ID we talked about earlier, and stitches the data together into one unified view. Depending on the specific data you're after, SQL offers you a few different types of bridges. You can use an inner join if you only want to find records that have matches in both tables. Or you might use a left join to guarantee that all the records from your primary left table show up, along with whatever matching data happens to be on the right. Then, of course, there's the right join and the full outer join, which just goes ahead and pulls absolutely everything. Look, whether you're prepping for a tough technical interview or you're about to sit down and build the back end of your very first web app, mastering these core SQL statements isn't just helpful, it's an absolute necessity. Understanding how to properly structure tables, apply primary keys, and run those core CRUD operations really forms the bedrock of all data management. But hey, before we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a crucial security tip from our sources. If you're building an application that takes any kind of user input and sends it to your database, you absolutely must protect against SQL injection attacks. Always separate your SQL structure from the user's data. You do this by using prepared statements and parameterized queries. This ensures that some malicious user can't just type executable code into a text box and trick your database into deleting or exposing all your private records. Real game changer there. And just like that, we've successfully navigated the entire lifecycle of a data record. From organizing a simple student roster all the way up to analyzing millions of e-commerce transactions. The power of databases is now firmly in your hands. So the question I want to leave you with today is this. What real-world problem are you going to solve with your new SQL skills? Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep exploring the data.